Good evening, everyone. It is my immense pleasure to welcome you all to yet another masterclass by Dr. Abha ma'am. And today it is going to be very interesting for all of us because ma'am is going to tell her experience in the form of case presentation. And ma'am's cases are all about controlled ovarian stimulation during IVF. Interestingly, we also have few cases which have been sent by the members of our masterclass WhatsApp group. And after ma'am's presentation, I will be describing those cases and we'll have answers from Abha ma'am and all of you also that what differently could have been done in those cases. So let's get started. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tejashri, and welcome back to the masterclass. We really had a gap on masterclasses. I think we missed out on 3 or 4 Thursdays because there are too many conferences happening these days, and hence every time there is something which one needs to prepare to, be there in those. However, I've seen that you all are so active on the masterclass group. I was thinking you'll have many cases to present or many cases to ask during this type of a discussion case presentation. But I'm surprised that very few queries came. I mean, out of 500 people in the group, if I get less than 5 queries, that means, you don't have time even to think back that where you got stuck up or where you did very well. What is it that you need to discuss in the forum? And it is not discussing with me. I would want all of you to put your inputs because that has helped me over the years since I'm doing this. That I have also changed my methods, my protocols, my treatment methods, and every time I go to a conference, I do something, I learn. So I'm I would be much happier that if we have such interactive sessions, all of you should participate. There is nothing that someone knows less or this case is very simple. Every case is important in my opinion. So well, I'll start with the DioStim protocol. I get a lot of queries on my personal WhatsApp, ma'am, how to do it. So if you are thinking that the age is 38, the BMI is 32, and AMH is zero point 0.5. Now, here we do not counsel for donor egg. We tell the patient that you can try your own if the patient is ready to go for it. And how we thought we'll go for duostim and what are important points is counseling is very important for both the things for duostim, and you can even counsel a 38-year woman for PGT if you have the facility. So these two counselings are very important to reduce time to pregnancy. And at 38 years, for a live birth, you need 4 to 5 good quality blastocysts. Why? Because the aneuploidy rate is quite high, more than 60% in these women. So, out of 4 or 5 blastocysts, you may find one, two, or maximum, sometimes if you are lucky, three normal euploid blastocysts. So, you need about 5 good blastocysts. Now, here, these are the characteristics. She's 38-year-old, means advanced maternal age, AMH is zero point 0.5, low ovarian reserve. I like to use LH and I'm quite fond of using LH directly rather than HMG, but you can use HMG if a product is giving you persistently good results. And see what we did for her was in the luteal phase, we used ANTAG protocol with 300 pergoveris, which has 300 of FSH and 150 of LH activity. And in the luteal phase, we did not use antagonist, we used medroxyprogesterone acetate, which we start 48 hours after the first egg retrieval. Now, if you see, 5 eggs were retrieved here and we made 2 blastocysts. In the luteal duostim, the oocytes doubled to 11 and the blast doubled to 4. Now, why does this happen? You would say that, how can it just double up? The AMH is the same. Probably what happens that when you give gonadotropins for like we gave in this case for day 10, we gave gonadotropins. After that, we gave a dual trigger. So all that gonadotropin will surface some of the pre-antral follicles into early antral follicles. Now, pre-antral is what we cannot see. Antral is when antrum develops in follicles, whether it is 1 mm, 2 mm, 3 mm, whatever. So, if we've been able to bring these a little forward in these 10 days, then continuing stimulation might give us better result. And if you see the ultrasound here, we had two, three, four, five, and we were very lucky because we got five oocytes. Here, if you see one, two, three, four, five, there, here, you see that the follicles look more, but we could get eggs from even smaller follicles, and we made four blastocysts. But the story is not always the same. It could be reverse. This is another Duostem patient. Her age was less. So counseling is very important, and we counsel our patients right on the outset if they come with this type of AMH 0.3. BMI was normal, age is young, so we never counseled her for PGTA. We only counseled her for a duostim. And here, if you see, we gave her just recombinant FSH. We did not add LH, though we could have maybe added LH. But then adding LH for me is very expensive because I use recombinant. But if you give HMG, you can try that. We gave antagonist in the follicular phase and MPA, medroxyprogesterone in luteal. Here we got six oocytes and one blastocyst in the follicular phase. We went up to luteal phase stimulation and we got same number of oocytes. It did not increase and we got zero blastocysts. So the story can reverse, that you may get oocytes, maybe same, maybe less, maybe more, and you may not make blastocysts. So always remember, counseling is very important. You have to tell them in about 70% we may get the same number of eggs or higher, but in 30% we could get lower number of eggs, and every time getting an egg does not translate into blastocyst formation. Somehow we are a lab where we do blastocyst. I mean, every egg is taken up to blastocyst stage, which is fertilized, and hence we like to do blastocyst transfers and preservation of the same. Then you come to another done. Here, what was the AMH was 0.5. This was again a young girl of 29 years. So PGTA is again not recommended for a 29-year-old if we get two good quality blastocysts, because aneuploidy rate is less than 20%. We can think of, live birth. So here there was a tubal block also, and she and low ovarian reserve, so she came for IVF, and we got just four oocytes in her. From where we got, I can't understand, because on the follicle monitoring we can just see two over here, but the E2 has risen to 648 from uh, 54. So four oocytes and two blastocyst form. So for her, we told her, don't go for a second stimulation. Two blastocysts should give you a 85% chance of conception when we do a single embryo transfer, and these are good blastocysts. If they are expansion stage 4 or 5 and they are AA, AB or BB, then they would give a 50% chance of pregnancy with every transfer. So 85% she could have got pregnant. So we did not think of doing a second stimulation for her, and we stopped. So we are not adamant on duostim. If suppose in the first stimulation I would have got, in any of the older patients, four or five blastocysts, I wouldn't have gone for the second stimulation. Then we come to rescue of duostem cycle to PPOS protocol in advanced maternal age and poor ovarian reserve. I'm showing you mainly poor ovarian reserves because this is here where we have a lot of queries. Now here, this girl was again counseled for duostem. Why? Because she was 38-year old, weight was 76 kg, and her AMH was 9.8 picomoles, which is a little less than 1.2 nanograms. The husband had azoospermia, Sertoli cell only. So she had one donor insemination live birth in 2016 with me only. And then now again she came at 38 for another child. But two IUIs were done, I mean, yeah, with donor insemination. Both failed, so she opted for IVF. Now, here what happens is on day two, there was a 13 follicle sitting, and the E2 was 103. We just ignored it. We said, oh, never mind. Maybe the E2 is high. Let's go ahead. We gave her 5 days of Gunalef 300 units. And if you see after 5 days, the E2 jumped to 460 and LH 32.2. So the surge had happened. Now, so after 2 days, we looked at progesterone, and the surge had truly happened, and the progesterone rose to 2.7. So as soon as the progesterone rose, we changed her over to a PPOS protocol. We never gave her antagonist because we would have started antagonist after day 5. Surge already came because E2 was already high. And this often happens in off-age women where there is already a selection of follicle, say maybe 4 days before her menstruation has happened, because progesterone goes down rapidly and a new follicle is selected. So by the time she gets her menstruation on progesterone withdrawal, her follicle has already grown for 5 days, and that is why her E2 was high, and there was a 13 follicle, which we thought is okay, let's just ignore it. But after 5 days, we saw that her E2 had jumped up and she had a LH surge. So instead of wasting the cycle, we continued with the same stimulation, and at the end, we started Meprate. We continued with FSH only for 8 days and gave a dual trigger, 5 oocytes and 2 blastocysts were formed. So I've made a red dot here. What was our mistake? Maybe if I had anticipated that early follicular selection has happened, I would have given her a lower dose of Gunalef, and I would have saved her a lot of money if I gave her only 75 units or whatever gonadotropin I wanted, Gunalef or Folisurge, Foligraph. And after 5 days, she would have still peaked her E2 and she would have still got the LH surge because it was only one follicle which went up to 22, which ruptured after 2 days. We found it not there after 2 days. So, this is what you learn, that if you find a high E2 with a follicle coming up, even with a normal 2 endometrium, because she's just shed her endometrium, beware that this must be a luteal phase selected follicle. And in 5 days, if you get LH levels like this, let her ovulate and then go ahead. But here, maybe I could have used a lower dose of this drug. Then there is Bystim also. Now, the only problem with this Bystim, which was a paper by Masson, what they did was that they did started from luteal phase stimulation, and when the follicles were ready, they picked up and they preserved the oocytes. And then they started a fresh day two stimulation from the follicular phase. And now, when they picked up the eggs, the vitrified eggs were sort of warmed back. And then all the oocytes were fertilized at one go, and the best embryo was picked up for a fresh transferred. These were patients with low reserves, so there was no question of hyperstimulation, no question of not doing a fresh transfer, especially if there is no hyperstimulation. The progesterone rise is also there in very, very limited cases. It generally does not happen, but we changed this. Here, we did 2 consecutive cycles. Acha, sorry, sorry, that was another protocol which I described. Here, there were 2 follicular stimulation in 2 consecutive cycles. And after that, they went for embryo transfer, but this was criticized because after one follicular stimulation, if they made embryos, then often the doctor as well as patient was tempted to have a transfer done. And if they had a transfer, if there was a failure, the patient got so disappointed she didn't go for the second cycle. If she did not, or if she got pregnant and had a missed abortion, then they generally disappear for 6 months. So this Bystim did not work very well. This was even challenged by Ubaldi, who was a person who started the geostimulation protocol, that the whole purpose is counseling and in one go getting double the number of embryos rather than doing it in 2 stage follicular cycles consecutive. and yet, but we did use it in some patients, and this is like Bystim. Now here you see counseling is important again, age 39, AMH is 1.8 is normal. So advanced AMH is normal. After first stimulation, we had 5 oocytes only and 1 blast formed. Second stimulation from day 2, 3, here CC was also added to Folisurge just to bring up the LH levels a little bit. And we got 10 oocytes and 2 blastocysts. So you see the whole picture changed from 5 to 10 and from 1 to 2. So even Bystim works. That means subsequent stimulations are good, especially in low reserve patients, because they do not have lot of corpora lutea sitting there when they come on day 2 to you. So you feel quite clean ultrasounds and you can start your stimulation again. And this is one method of adding LH to your cycles. If one gives CC, this was one of my consultants. And instead of using an expensive drug like Pergoveris, it is probably a good option to use the cheaper recombinant FSH, which are biosimilars, along with a dose of clomiphene citrate. Then there is uh, this is a good case. I think Dr. Bhavani is there today. Only she wrote in our group that this patient has delivered a baby, right? Bhavani, are you there?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
This
Today
one
only
only
she
you
has
wrote,
delivered.
huh? Today only you wrote that she's delivered a baby.
Yes, ma'am.
This was cancer endometrium stage 1A, medically reversed with Medral with 2 endometrial biopsies negative, diabetes mellitus type 2 on insulin. She came to Dr. Bhavani, and this was, if you see, aim was here, the aim is to keep the E2 levels to less than 200. This is our aim for all patients who have been treated with cancer endometrium. So what did we give her? She was 32-year-old, AMH was 2.5, 75 kg. So we started her with Letrose 5 milligram with FSH 225 IU, gave it for 10 days. Final E2 was 95. You see here, 95. So E2 just did not rise. We got 6 oocytes and we were so lucky to get 4 blastocysts. I don't know. Previous IVF outside, no Letrose was given. Gonalf was given 450 units to a patient who had good AMH, and her final E2 was 2,940. We almost exposed her to such high estrogen levels where CA endometrium is very likely to precipitate, and only 2 sites were obtained with no embryos. So even the IVF lab probably counts despite having high E2 levels. They could have got more, but I don't know what went wrong. The drug was good, the final E2 was good, but only 2 sites with no embryos were formed. Then I take you to another case here. This was Dr. Niti's patient. Breast cancer, estrogen sensitive tumor, ERPR was positive. Here again, we need to keep very low exposure of E2. So here again, we did the same thing. 29-year-old normal AMH, Letrose, we started with 5 milligram, FSH 225 into 10 days. Final E2 was 153, if you can see it here, 153. And 16 oocytes. So can you imagine? Look at her number of oocytes and 4 good blastocysts. So at times you are unlucky that with 16 oocytes you may not get so many blastocysts, but if the lab is working well, you should be able to get. Now, this is random start. I wanted you all to know random start also. Say patient comes on day 6, 7, and you are so used to starting it on day 2 that you feel that no, let the patient wait, come on day 2 or let her come on luteal phase. But you can start, this was started from day 15 of menses. If you see here was written something, whatever. Aim was again to keep the E2 levels to less than 200. This is post removal of right adnexa for endometrioid adenocarcinoma. I think this was Sakshi's patient. Now, what did we do? 30 years AMH 0.1 nanogram. So this was low ovarian reserve also. Because already one adnexa was removed, we don't know what was the condition of the other adnexa, and she was only 30-year-old. Again, Letrose with FSH 9 days, ANTAC protocol, final E2 was 214, a little over 200, but this is acceptable. A, 2 sites, 1 GV, 2 average blastocysts stored in 1 straw. When we have average blastocyst, we call average if we have a 1C into the blastocyst. So I think here there was 5 AB and 3 CB. So when we have such blast, then we like to store them together and transfer them also together. So she did make with such a low reserve, but yes, most important is to keep the E2 low. Now, this is random start from day 6. So you saw that random start from day 15. You can give ANTAC protocol even in random start from day 15 of menses. So there is nothing to say that you will only give a PPOS protocol. Yes, PPOS protocol can be given if progesterone is already there in circulation, but even ANTAC can be given. So here, random start, patient came to me on day 6. She had an invasive ductal carcinoma breast, and she wanted to preserve her eggs before she went in for any surgery. AMH was very good, 36 years, 67 kg. LH surge on day 6 of stimulation. So here we gave her stimulation. If you see, this was, yes, I started her with only 2.5 milligram letrozole, which was a mistake, and the dose of FSH was high. So you see the E2 just went up to 537. Letro's dose should be higher, 5 milligram, and you can go to as high as 10 milligram. Then we increased letrozole to 5 milligram on day 6 for 3 days, but FSH still increased. We could not control the rise, no reduction. We did not reduce the FSH dose, which we should have reduced. Then we increased the letrozole to 7.5 for 2 days. We got 19 oocytes. She did get hyperstimulated looking at her AMH. And E2 went up to 875, which is not acceptable for such cases. And we got only one top quality blastocyst. So you see, even with so many oocytes, one may end up with one good oocyte, and she really needed, because she was going in for surgery, invasive ductal carcinoma breast. So these are cases which tell us that, how careful we need to be with the gonadotropins we are using, how careful we need to be with the estradiol doses, and just number of oocytes sometimes does not decide the destination number of blastocysts which you may receive. Now, this is a very different case. I just found it on my laptop. So I thought I will discuss it with you. It's very difficult to see. I wish I had a way to zoom this. Is there a way to zoom all this? Anyone knows how I can zoom?
Ma'am, we can zoom the screen and see.
Viewers can zoom it, ma'am. Viewers can zoom it on their screen and read it.
Okay. ठीक है.
Each
I
one
can't
will have
do
to do
that.
it
I
on
can't.
them.
So, anyways, this girl came to me in 2019 with a history that the history is written here if you can understand. She was a 45-year young lady, married for 20 years, has been trying to conceive for last 6 years. Obstetrical history of a preterm intrauterine death and induction of delivery at 28 weeks with histopathology came out as triploidy. So pregnancy was by AID because both partners have cystic fibrosis and husband has CABVD. This was in USA. She underwent multiple IVF cycles in the USA but could not have embryo transfer done due to poor embryos. Undergoing HRT for FET with donor oocyte as very low variant reserve. So she came to us, we used donor oocytes, we made embryos, and now she comes back in 2021 from USA to go through treatment. I think she had 2 or 3 embryos from a donor. So, she was on OC pills and she had a history of very good withdrawal bleeding on OC pills, regular menses of 25 days cycle. So, I could not envisage that there must have been any problem with her endometrium. When she came to me, LMP was on 10th of May after Meprate withdrawal also. Serum E2 10 and FSH 74 picograms. This is wrong, not HMG was given. Estogel and Progenova was given to her for 10 days. and there was no endometrial growth. She lived in Chandigarh. So she was talking to me on my follow-up. This is an app on which I take outstation patients. And so there was no endometrial growth. And this is her doctor in Chandigarh, Dr. Jasneet Kaur, who sent me that endometrium was 4.7 millimeter. And flow was zone 4, means outermost zone only. This is the endometrium which had grown for her. So I called her and I said, let us do a hysteroscopy and synechiolisis, which I did on 24th May 2021. This is a hysteroscopy which I did, and I wanted to show you that sometimes going in with the no touch technique is so helpful. We don't hold the cervix, we create hydropressure, go in, and if you see, I was trying to go in here, and I thought this looks very suspicious to me. Is this really true ostia? You see, I went closer, closer, and closer. And this area started looking suspicious. So I just opened up a scissor there and look what happened. And now you can see the true ostia inside. So I could understand that there was a sheath of adhesions which probably happened after her intrauterine death, normal vaginal delivery, and probably she had a manual placental removal. And hence the endometrium would not grow. But now this girl had a visa only for 3 months. She had to go back. So I did a hysteroscopy on the 21st of May and she had to go back in June. So I could not stop her, from going for a embryo transfer. She was extremely desperate. Now I couldn't find that cavity anymore. So I got a little suspicious about where am I going about this synechiolisis. So I come to the other ostia and here I thought, let me see. And here also I found that there was a little dip, but not as much as the other side. So anyways, after cutting, I put her on more um, estrogen. And I'll tell you, this was the first case where I, in desperation, put in PRP also before transfer. However, I remember Dr. Bhavani was with me when I was doing a transfer, and the endometrium did not reach 5 millimeter. It was still 4.9 only. And this lady delivered on March 22nd. So it's so beautiful that with a 5 millimeter endometrium, where we thought there was a synechia which was cut bloodlessly, and we did give her one PRP. I will still not give the credit to PRP. I just thought it was a clean endometrium. We gave her more estrogen, we did a transfer, and this baby was born. So this was good to know that, and this is not just one case, there are many cases where in between 5 and 6 millimeter endometrium, it's important to do a hysteroscopy to make sure we are not missing out even a single synechia inside. Like here, all ultrasonologists would have missed this synechia which was there in the fundus. However, this is donor stimulation. I just brought this because we have used for donor stimulation clomiphene citrate, and we have also used medroxyprogesterone acetate. So CC was a paper published by Ruma long, long ago, where 50 milligram of clomiphene citrate was given with 100 to 150 FSH in all donor cases. Matlab donors had good ovarian reserves, so we never used more than this dose with CC of this up to trigger day. So CC sat on the pituitary receptors, did not let the LH surge happen, and then the trigger was given. For medroxyprogesterone, it is the PPS protocol. You all know we use it for our donor cases. Thank you so much. I'll stop sharing, and then now Tejashree, you can
Yeah.
start.
Ma'am, I was just about to say that that was a plethora of cases that you have showed us. I'm sure we have so many more cases to discuss, and a lot of points need to be discussed in these cases. So I was just
Will.
wanting your permission to, start the discussion based on these
Okay.
cases rather than going
Okay.
with, and we can have
Okay.
another session with the cases that people have sent, and I think more people would want to send
I
cases.
think
So
did
let's
did you
keep that
all
for next time.
just write on the chat box if you like this type of a format for the master class. I think all those who like can just write yes, 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 or no, 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 and then we'll have lecture or these type of things. But I want everyone to, participate in this, that you send your cases. We should have cases. We should know our mistakes. We should point out that here we went wrong. We should have done differently. And I think all of you must participate in that. I see a lot of yeses, so I'm happy. We
Yes,
can
yeah.
discuss the questions now,
Yeah,
Tejasvi.
I
Don't
think we are
stop
already
sharing.
at 7:31, so we'll take the questions first, ma'am. And if time permits, then I'll discuss one of the cases that
So you discuss one
one.
case. If you have too many questions, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, we'll discuss these questions and then we'll go with the case, ma'am.
हाँ.
क्योंकि अभी हुआ ही है, so we can just finish off the
Yeah,
questions based on your
Vidya,
cases.
your question is same cycle of hysteroscopic adhesiolysis is continued for ET. I was not, there was no other way I could go ahead because her visa was expiring in June. She came for only 3 months. So I was taken aback in May when the ultrasonologist said that the endometrium is only 4.6. And the ultrasonologist was good because she sent a picture of her endometrium. I'm answering Vidya's question.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I think,
because
ma'am.
it was a bloodless hysteroscopy, if you see, it was so bloodless, and we just cut the right synechia, we just continued the estrogen. Now we have many more methods. This was done in 2021. Now we know that vaginal estrogen would have given him much higher levels. Possibly I gave PRP, but after that I never used it. I used it for two, three patients subsequent to this patient. But then I thought, no, I'm doing the wrong thing. If किसी को infection हो जाए, तो there'll be a
Yeah.
big problem.
Right. So, ma'am, I think the major takeaways from your cases, which I want to highlight, is that one is if there is a dominant follicle already coming up and it leads to a LH surge on day 5 or day 6, all we need to do is we can convert into a PPOS protocol and just go on stimulating. I think this point everybody should pick up rather than canceling the whole cycle.
Yeah, if
We can,
LH surge happens, just sit quietly. Just wait that if
yeah.
surge has happened, your progesterone will rise. You don't need to give trigger. If you
Yeah.
want to enhance it, you give decapeptyl there only.
Yeah, and the only thing is we can't do a fresh transfer in these cases
Correct.
because there's already LH surge and progesterone and we have used
Absolutely
PPO.
correct.
And the other thing is about, I think, how do you select patients for Duostim, ma'am? And, this might be a question coming up to a lot of audience's mind, that how do you counsel them right in the beginning? And you said in one case, you didn't go ahead with Duostim because she had two blastocysts. So
Good
then
blastocyst, yeah.
what is your criteria to, I mean, not go ahead with Duostim? Or when do you decide that rather than going for a Duostim, a Bistim will work better for this girl?
Well, it is very difficult to say when Biostim will work better. It is the patient's mental makeup. And if she is ready, I counsel them right in the beginning. AMH low, I tell them, please understand that Duostim may be a good option, but we will see. We will start the second stimulation on day 5 once the embryology lab tells us what blastocyst formation is there. And we started on day 6, but if we think of fresh transfer, we give her vaginal progesterone for 5 days. If we think that no, fresh transfer is just impossible in this case, then we start with medroxyprogesterone. It's much cheaper, one tablet orally of 10 milligram. Now, on day 5, we decide whether she should go for a duostim or we can stop. If she's young, she makes 2 or 3 good blastocysts, good quality blastocysts, I would stop there. But if she's old, I would want her to go for a duostim again. So this is
Correct.
one criteria. And what else were you asking?
I was asking that before starting Duostim, how do you decide, like, if she's ready, you go for Duostim, or would you counsel her for a
I do not do
Biostim
an
in some case?
ultrasound. We had done it once in between to see there were antral follicles or not. It's very difficult to see. We just close our
Hmm.
eyes and start.
Start the stimulation. All
Yeah.
right. Ma'am, we have certain questions. Dr. Vidya is asking why blastocysts were not formed in the second patient. In the young
This
patient, you
is
said in the
laboratory.
duostimulation,
Yeah, these are
despite the
laboratory
best of
factors.
labs.
A lot of time it happens that, you saw with one patient where 70, 19 oocytes were recovered and only one blastocyst average quality formed. So if you see what we look into our lab is if we have 5 cases, like tomorrow we have 5 cases, we'll see how is the fertilization across the board. What is the blastocyst formation across the board? In across the board, if the blastocyst formation is okay and one patient with good number of oocytes does not form, then it is probably in one of the gametes of the patient the problem lies, in the sperm or egg, not in the laboratory. But if all out of 5, 3 or 4 patients make poor blastocyst, we'll say, look into the laboratory. You need to correct. Something is not right. The temperature, the humidity, the oxygen, the gas. This is how we identify where is the problem.
Right. And ma'am, Dr. Vidya also wants to know whether you would advise her to go for a oocyte donation, or is there any other modification you would do in her next stimulation?
See, this is very much personal. Vidya,
I agree.
there are patients who are 43-year-old and with very low reserve, and they say, no, if I have any chance, I want my own eggs, otherwise, I don't want a baby. So, I would not advise her. I would just say oocyte donation would be a good option for you. It would be less costly also, give you a higher chance of pregnancy, but it is totally your personal wish.
Right.
But normally, when
So
I
as
do
far as the patient is ready to
one more
undergo
thing,
yeah,
today, like I counseled the patient that you will need maybe 4 cycles, but I don't think I would want to go for 4 stimulations for you. We do one duostim. If we don't make even 2 blastocysts, please drop, don't come back to me, or you come back to me with the thought that you want to go in for donor. Because if we make less than 2, that means one blastocyst in 2 duostims. How many will we make for a 42-year-old girl? We will have to make 5 or 6. How many times
yeah.
can
But
we?
for a younger patient who's
Yes.
30, ma'am, how many cycles would you want to do for
I would
her? I
want
mean,
to.
of course, if she makes good blastocysts, then we
I have
stop.
a
But
patient. I remember her name Meenakshi. Every time we did a duostim, she just made one embryo, and she was like 30 years old. She was so determined because all her family had IVF, had children. She went through 3 duostims, making 4 blastocysts. In the first one, she got pregnant, and now 3 blastocysts are kept with us. I told her, see, you've already got 2, don't go for another cycle. She went for another one, and till she did not have 4, she didn't go for the first transfer. So every
right, ma'am.
patient is so
And
different.
what is your take on add-ons like DHEAS or testosterone gel in these patients? Because we've done a duostim and then now we want to stimulate her further.
I
So would
think
you like to use add-ons?
Yeah, I think out of the add-ons, the only thing that
Younger patient.
excites me, yeah, is androgens. Whether androgen
Okay.
is form of a gel, and it has to be short duration of androgen. Long is like antagonistic to follicular development. So there were certain studies earlier where they gave androgens for the whole month, and there were certain who gave androgen small dose, short duration. They work better. So even androtas type of androgen gel can be started maybe 1 or 2 days before the periods are due, and it can be continued for 5 days. Stimulation can be started on day 3, even with the gel on. Or one can even think of giving letrozole. Some people like to give it to increase the
Androgen base. Yeah.
androgen base. So I have used androtas for some women where
Right.
they did not really get anything earlier, and that very
Hmm.
recently she got quite good number of oocytes. So these
We
things make
always
you
have
think again
cases
that this
anecdotal
is
where
a good
who might
option.
respond how. But
Yeah.
ma'am, there is one more question by Dr. Nisha, and she is asking that in the case where you noticed a 13 follicle with a E2 of more than 100 on day 2 or 3, why didn't we use an antagonist or something?
I did not
to-
think she will ovulate. I'm sorry, I could not anticipate. But after
Yeah,
five
so I
days,
think,
when I saw her ovulating, then I thought, okay, never mind. I could have used antagonist on day 2, 3 also.
yeah. In the
You
third
learn from
case,
your
you
mistakes only, and you are all
it
going to learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, ma'am, we are learning a lot from you because I think accepting at this point that, this could have been done better is a big thing. And, that helps us improve in our practice, ma'am. So I think we are learning a lot from you in that aspect as well. Ma'am, in the third case of Diostim, pre-treatment would have helped. Like we always do use estrogen pre-treatment in low reserve cases.
Is
So
the
in the
case
same case
closed?
where
What
there
was the
was a
third
dominant
case?
follicle, the
Okay.
same one, ma'am, where a dominant follicle was
I'm
visible on day
happy
2.
we got good number of oocytes, and I think we made two blastocysts in that. I must see what is there in the slide share. Is the slide share still there?
No, we are not able to see
Okay,
that
let me see the
presentation.
third case, which one I
I think
missed.
it was this case where there was a dominant follicle already on day 2 or 3. That was the same
Okay,
case. So if we would
okay.
have used a pre-treatment, the
Yeah,
cohort would have been better.
yeah, you can do that,
Ma'am,
but
we
we're
have
not
actually,
lucky.
there is a issue at our unit, basically, which I want to highlight is that patients do directly land up on day 2 or 3 sometimes, and
Yes,
they are
correct. I'm just
outstation
saying if we
patients,
had
and
an
then they,
opportunity, now I've
yeah,
started using Tejashree. I've given the tablet antagonist also to few patients 4 days before they start
oral
the
antagonist.
periods, 4 5 days oral one. Because earlier antagonist injection was advised once as pre-treatment, but it did not pick up. People didn't
Give
use it.
us,
There were very few
yeah,
studies in the beginning only. But I feel it is better than giving estrogen because sometimes I find day 2 E2 quite high when I give Progenova
right.
1 BD till menses and call them on day 2. But if I give antagonist, I wouldn't find the E2 high. And that is how I ignore a high E2 sometimes because I think that maybe this was because of the
The
estrogen.
pre-treatment was the reason for height.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Ma'am,
can give, you can always learn and try to give, but then if the patient lands up on day 2, what do you do?
it's, yeah, I think what you mentioned, ma'am, was very important that if you're seeing a dominant follicle, we can just give her a little, I mean, a small dose of gonadotropin so that the
Yeah,
dominant follicle
yeah.
grows, ruptures, and then we start like a random start.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ma'am, Dr.
Especially because I
Yashasvi is
did
asking
not give
that.
her pre-treatment and the E2 was high, right?
Absolutely right, ma'am. So I think that approach would have helped us, saved her some money of using a high dose gonadotropin.
Gonadotropin, correct.
Ma'am, in the case of CA endometrium, Dr. Yashasvi is asking, was HRT given, or was it a modified natural cycle for the
No,
FET that
I
we
I don't know. I've only brought you stimulation protocols.
Ma'am,
The
I had used letrozole stimulation
again?
cycle,
Right.
natural
So
cycle.
see how nice is this? Bhavani is patient, and I think all these. I wish Dr. Sakshi was here, Dr. Neeti was here, because all these patients have undergone transfer, and quite a number of them have delivered also. But CA endometrium is the most difficult one to implant. I have had a CA endometrium which I reversed with lot of treatment. She made beautiful embryos because she was a PCOS. We gave her same protocols, and this was like 10 years ago. Matlab, it was not a recent case. And that girl had a Mirena put in while she was going through stimulation, but she could not implant any embryo. I did two embryo transfers, they failed. I put in a hysteroscope, her cavity looked so abnormal, so vascular. Then she got a surrogate and she got a baby also through a surrogate. This was also the name was Shweta of that patient. So, yes, uh, CA endometrium is the most difficult to have a implantation because the endometrium is different.
Right. Ma'am, Dr. Vidya wants to know that whether there is a need to add antagonist in a letrozole protocol where we are trying to keep the
Yes.
E2 low. We
No, no.
have to any
Too
which
low
ways.
does not prevent the LH surge.
Yes, we are not preventing the LH surge. We are only keeping the serum E2 levels low by adding
Yes, correct.
letrozole. So antagonist has to go,
With
has to be given.
clomiphene, it can block the
Yes.
pituitary. So there it can, we don't need antagonist if
Very
clomiphene is
good.
Yes,
given
if we are
10 ml.
continuing, yes, if we are continuing
Letrozole
the
doesn't have
clomiphene,
any action on the gonadotropin
LH.
receptor of the pituitary. It has only
Hmm.
action on the aromatase enzyme inside the ovary, where the theca cell androgen conversion into estrogen takes place. It blocks that enzyme. So androgens increase, estrogens can't increase with letrozole.
Ma'am, Dr. Nisha is asking many a times for luteal phase start. We only see multiple hemorrhagic cysts and hardly one or two follicles. Do you still
Don't
start
see,
in such
close your
cases?
eyes, close your eyes. You will see, because if you've stimulated in the follicular phase, you will see multiple hemorrhagic luteal cyst. Nisha, just blindly start the gonadotropin and call her after 8 days. In 8 days, all that clears out.
Also, ma'am, Dr. Naina is asking whether you prefer to give a higher dose of gonadotropin during the luteal phase.
No, same dose, but maybe 2 days extra.
Extra.
Generally, yes. When we did the study, we started after 3 days, and every case needed 2 or 3 more days of gonadotropin. Now, since we've started from day 5, we generally need the same number of days, or maybe 1 or 2 more days. So, आँख बंद करो और 8 दिन दे के बुलाओ. अभी बॉम्बे से एक पेशेंट आई. Is Dr. Garima here? She's also one of my IFS students. She only stimulated the patient. In the first phase, that was follicular phase, I got 3 oocytes in Bombay. She was told only donor. Then that's how she came to Delhi. She lives in Bombay, so she's getting monitored with Dr. Garima Sharma, who's been our IFS student. I think you all know her, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? So she did her monitoring. First cycle, Pergoveris, 3 oocytes, very poor blastocyst, not frozen. This time we got 8 or 9 oocytes. Today only, I think I'll have to ask what blastocyst formation happened for this girl. This is also a doctor, Dr. Shweta.
Okay. Ma'am, Dr. Prachi is asking any experience with young patient, normal reserve, irregular cycles, recurrent luteinized unruptured follicle history despite dual trigger, no identifiable cause
How
for
did you
LUF.
identify the unruptured follicle by ultrasound? That is not an ideal
Dr.
method.
Prachi, if you're here, you can answer.
Yes, ma'am. Ultrasound and means there is no free fluid at all, and always it used to be increased size of the follicle with hemorrhages inside.
I think
But I've never
increase in
checked for
size
this one.
itself indicates that the oocyte has been released. Because why will the follicle just increase in size? That means the membrane tried to rupture, and if there
Web
is hemorrhage
welfare.
also, if there is hemorrhage, then the oocyte is released. You know how difficult it is to diagnose unruptured luteinized follicle. They say only by laparoscopy you can eventually diagnose it. If you see the ostia and the follicle size is the same, it may turn hemorrhagic. That means the oocyte has been released. And earlier days, whenever the patient used to come with this diagnosis, she used to conceive in the same cycle. So please do not label her as unruptured unless you know that she has endometriosis, she has adhesions. And rarely a lady may have one cycle of unruptured, but she will not have repeatedly. If she's a PCOS and is having unruptured, you can go in with a laparoscope, rule out endometriosis, maybe drill her just a little bit. She will rupture her follicles. Ovaries,
Actually, outside 3 cycles, ma'am. There was history of LUF when she was trying to conceive naturally, OITI cycles. So with
LUF
me,
is such a rare diagnosis, Bache.
mm,
Prachi, this is so rare, and people diagnose it very easily when you see you've given a trigger, and after 2 days, the follicle is sitting as it is. But you are saying it was a hemorrhagic cyst every
yes,
time.
ma'am.
That means she did rupture. How will the hemorrhage come inside it? Unless there is a little break in the wall where a blood vessel broke and she hemorrhaged. If the follicle is sitting exactly the same size, maybe there could be an unruptured follicle. But if it grows and becomes cystic, hemorrhagic, then it has ruptured.
And ma'am, always she has asynchronous cohort on day 2. So and if we use
A
even in
long
IUI,
agonist protocol.
yes, ma'am, I tried. But what happens with any hormonal manipulation, her like AFC gets suppressed. But I mean, asynchrony goes, but AFC gets quite suppressed. From 18, it will go down to 4 to 5.
Never mind. With
Yes, ma'am.
GnRH agonist, I want everyone's opinion. I give this to my patients, and when I see that very few follicles are growing, the AMH should have. I mean, according to AMH, she would have done better. I change into GnRH agonist long protocol in the middle of the cycle, and generally it works well. Maybe for some patient it may not work very well. So your
Dr.
patient also.
Prachi, have you started stimulation or you never started because you saw that the FC is less?
No,
Or
no.
did you
After
ever?
no, I started with long because I at first I after IUI cycle it was suppressed because I assumed that I gave her even estrogen and progesterone, so maybe that is the reason it got suppressed. So I left that cycle, and I called her again to check AFC. So AFC recovered because when there is no hormones, again I could see good AFC. But asynchrony comes on day two. So I thought, okay, I'll do long
But
agonist.
you
So
saw
I
good AFC on day two only, no? So why
but
didn't you
with
start stimulation?
ma'am, asynchronous cohort, so it was
अरे
like I thought
भैया
maybe.
स्टिमुलेट करो सब ठीक हो जाएगा. Don't go
That's
so
what I
much on
feel, that you
AFC.
start agonist and start stimulating. She will
Yeah, don't
respond.
look at
शुरू में.
AFC so much. Please, if
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
see even less follicles, she has those if you've seen the AFC. They all will get stimulated in 6, 7, 8 days. So don't be so afraid, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
I don't
I
give
think
antagonist dose in pre-treatment. You tell me. I try to give 200 milligrams daily once only because I don't need too much of suppression. I just need to suppress FSH so that it doesn't start stimulating to let follicles grow. What is your opinion? How much should we give? Tejashree, Bhavani, Dr. Prachi,
इसमें
what do you think
melagolics can be 150. 150 is
should be enough?
for
What do you
three
think?
days.
150 for, yeah, I think should be good enough.
Yeah, so I give once a day only. 200
Hmm.
okay or 150 should be okay once a day also, you all think, no? I've just started this recently. I'll have to see how it works.
Yeah. Ma'am, Dr. Preeti is asking, why do you use only FSH stimulation and not at HMG?
I don't use it. I'm sorry about it. I had a poor experience with HMG. One HMG works very well. The second one, I cannot let one cycle of my patient go wasted like this. It's so precious that if start stimulating her and then we say, oh, it's not working after 8 days, it makes me feel very sad. And if we go ahead, then they pay for the whole IVF, whether we get less oocytes. So I have, because of, biological variation in the molecule, I don't use HMG, but you can very happily use if your HMG is working well. You want to discuss the case? कितना time हुआ है? You can discuss one case which people sent or your case if you want to.
Ma'am, I'll share Dr. Shweta's case. Dr.
Okay.
Shweta is one of our members of the group and she had shared her case. So I'll quickly read that
Okay.
case out. We have another 7, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Yeah. You make it on slideshow. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So her patient was 31 years old, primary infertility, which was unexplained, AMH of 1.1 nanograms, and a baseline AFC of 3 on the right, 6 on the left. Her semen analysis and HSG was normal, and that is why she tried 3 to 4 cycles with gonadotropin, but that did not work. So she cancelled her for IVF on day 2 after pre-treatment with estrogen. Her FSH was 13, LH was 12, E2 118, progesterone was zero point 0.1. It was an antagonist cycle. She started with Gonalef of 300. On day 6, 5 days after Gonalef 300, right ovary showed the follicle that have been mentioned. Her E2 was 519, LH was 5.23. So she started Cetro on day 7 and increased the gonadotropin dose to 375. After 2 days, E2 was 2300, LH 4.9, and the dominant follicle, the largest, had reached 17. 2 days later, when she again repeated E2, it was 5,000, LH was 4.5, and dominant follicle was 23, 18, 17. On the left side, there were about 5, 6 dominant follicles. So she gave a dual trigger, and on the day of pickup, she checked with UPT and LH kit. Both were positive. Did a OCR at 34.5 hours since she was a low reserve patient. On OCR, she could only get 2 oocytes. One was M1, the other was GV.
I have a lot of comments on this case. Can we go back to the previous page? Yeah. Day 2 FSH 13 says that FSH has started rising for her despite giving her pre treatment with estrogen. So this is one thing. The E2 is high because maybe pre-treatment was given, but FSH is still high, number one. And then you go to the other side. How were her cycles? I want to know. Did she have regular cycles or not, Dr. Shweta?
Yes, ma'am. Regular cycles, like
Okay,
28, 26 to 27 days
good.
cycle.
Great. Now go to the next one. You cannot call a patient low reserve if her E2 goes up to 5,000 with a dose of whatever you've used, with even 375. So 5,000 means she's really responded well. And you've done a trigger check also, but OCR was done too early for her. I think you should have done OCR later on. Low reserve patient कहाँ से रह गई? E2 अगर 5,000 या 2,300 चला गया. So I would have, in this case, done a OCR at the normal 35, 36 hours only. Because you see, there are just two oocytes, one is M1 and one is GV. So maturity ही नहीं हुई oocytes की. तो निकले ही नहीं इसमें. बाकी आपको अपना प्रेशर watertight system of your
No,
tubing and
ma'am.
everything करना
Same
जरूरी
next
है.
pickup, both stuff was checked because I did another pickup the same day, like after this patient. So we had like 16 good oocytes, and so that was all checked. She complained of pain in the morning. Her one dominant follicle was 23. That is why I took her up at 30.
नो 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 नो, पेन तो होगा ही. इतना हाई डोज मिल रहा है, E2 5,000 हो गया तो बेचारी को पेन तो जरूर ही होगा. बट आई थिंक वी हैव टू एक्सेप्ट वेयर वी वेंट रॉन्ग. आई थिंक हियर एवरीथिंग वाज राइट एक्सेप्ट दिस कि OCR और देरी से करते तो शायद तुमको मेच्योर भी मिलते. बहुत कम फॉलिकल्स मिले हैं आउट ऑफ ऑल दीज फॉलिकल्स ओवर देयर. So even if there was asynchronous development, even if there was polymorphism, your doses covered everything except you did not give LH. That is the only thing. I think if you thought she was low reserve, a little LH should have been added, if not earlier, then after day 5. And number 2, OCR should have been done later. Now, अब बाकी सब लोग अपनी अपनी opinion दो.
Would
Everyone,
anybody want to unmute and give opinion?
you give your
Ma'am,
opinion.
LH, so I monitored LH levels, so they were in the
No,
range like
no.
1 to 5.
LH
Still,
levels
it
have
should have.
nothing to do. LH levels
Okay.
have nothing to do. You
Okay.
have to add LH irrespective of whatever the LH levels are. This is antagonist protocol. LH levels will never be suppressed. So you
Is
don't
there any need
trigger
of
LH,
doing LH levels?
just
Is there
add.
any need of doing LH level like this?
No, no. It is
Ma'am,
not
could
that.
it be a trigger problem because we were expecting a good response, E2 was good, but ultimately only two eggs were matlab
No,
retrieved,
I
one
think it is not
MB.
a trigger problem because she did a UPT and she did the thing,
So
the
it was
LH.
checked like 12 hours after trigger also, and the follicular fluid was also checked when I did not like found like first two eggs to be empty. So we checked follicular fluid also. So that I don't think it was a trigger problem.
No, I
Maybe
don't
young
think
age
it is.
also.
It is too early aspiration. And when you thought she was a low reserve patient to overcome polymorphism, which we don't know whether she had or not, but you use such good high doses, you could have just added LH, maybe 75, maybe 150. In my opinion, these are the two things I could have done for my patient if she was mine. And rest, I want every one of you to think what you could have done and could have happened better for her. अब next time जब करोगे, so add some LH right from day 2 and see that her trigger is given and 36 hours पे retrieval करो, not earlier than that. And don't let the E2 levels go so high, Shweta.
Okay,
Madam,
ma'am.
36 hours.
Yeah, 35 and a half, 30. I do, Bhavani, at what hour does my retrieval?
35 and a half.
We
35
take
and a
the
half.
patient
All
on
of
the
you
table
do?
at 35 and
Is
half.
there
The patient is on the
is
table.
there
And
any
everyone
difference
else
of
does it at
OCR?
35 hours?
Yeah, I
All
am doing at
of
See,
you?
35
ma'am,
hours.
35
everybody
and
is
a half.
doing 35 and a half only.
Okay,
Yes,
so all
ma'am.
of us are doing 35 and a half hours. The
Any
patient is
patients
taken
we
on
are
the table.
selecting early pickup?
No, we don't.
All the
Ma'am,
patients
any
35
dual?
and a half routinely.
Ma'am, LH from day 2, like 75, like 225 plus 75.
Yeah, that should be. No, also you can give 300 plus 75. I would have used 300 Percoveris.
मैम बट इसमें आप LH आप रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली बोल रहे हो बिकॉज शी इज अ यंग पेशेंट विद लो
Correct.
रिजर्व ना, वैसे तो आप नहीं ऐड करते ना।
नहीं,
Also, she has
मैं
responded
इसको
well to
देखने के बाद
recombinant.
बोल रही हूँ कि अगली साइकिल में
अगली साइकिल के
I would
लिए
have
हाँ।
wanted to give LH. I would have aspirated her at 35 and a half or 36 hours.
Sir, madam, how can we say that it was a true empty follicles?
It is not because दो eggs तो निकल आए ना बच्चे,
Okay.
है ना?
So
तो it's
true
two
empty
eggs
follicle
निकल-
will not have one egg also.
अगर एक भी नहीं निकलता तो we could have said that maybe she was a true empty follicular syndrome patient. But दो निकल आए तो उसने सारी छुट्टी कर दी हमारी डायग्नोसिस की, EFS की, है
Okay.
ना?
Yes.
Ma'am, any
Okay.
role of that dual trigger and 36 and 40 hours, like from DECA
Double
40
trigger.
hours? Yeah, double trigger, sorry.
Who's this? I
Ma'am,
want to.
Prachi.
हाँ,
Prachi.
Prachi.
Prachi, ma'am.
डबल ट्रिगर के ऊपर बिल्कुल भरोसा नहीं है मुझे, बिकॉज 40 आवर्स पहले अगर हम एगोनिस्ट लगा दें और फिर हम HCG दें, मुझे लगता है आधे केसेस जो हैं वो रप्चर कर जाएंगे.
Rupture हो जाएंगे, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't trust that.
38 hours,
People don't.
actually, I
I've
have
asked
35 and
tried,
half
all
but
also
speakers,
ovulation का डर लग रहा
I've
है।
asked many international speakers, they said double trigger very dangerous. चलो, I think we can call it a day today. 8 बज
Yes,
के आए.
Yeah.
I think it's 8
I have
p.m.
tried
and
38 hours, but not 40 hours. That much risk is like too much risk.
38 is also too much risk, especially with
No,
5,000
if the
EQ.
patient complains pain, ma'am, immediately. Otherwise, I have waited for 2 patients till 38 hours.
Okay, no, I would not wait. I would do it by 36 hours. So, anyways, this was very good discussion. But you
Yeah.
know, what? I'm very unhappy that nobody sent their cases to Dr. Tejasri. If you want this format to continue, maybe
Yes.
one or two more times. This time I won't bring cases. You all send all your interesting cases.
Now we got the format how we should present the
Yeah,
case.
just one
Next
slide
time,
patients.
definitely.
And I've shown you the real case sheet also to say that yes, this is absolutely what
Yes.
even
know,
if you are not able to make a PPT, just send the information to me. I'll,
but you send it with
modify
the
it,
real
make a
case sheet so
PPT for
that we
you.
know. Yeah.
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 Or you can send
Yeah.
your case sheet or a
Yes,
follicular
ma'am,
monitoring
surely.
page, and we'll have a good discussion. I was just about to say, ma'am, that today we've discussed the ovarian stimulation part of IVF. Should you be should ma'am discuss the uterine part of, the FET cycle
Very
or transfer
difficult.
cycle,
Very difficult.
wherein we deal with
Because there is only
hydrosalpines,
one
polyps,
thing.
septums.
RIF is a thing which I really don't have answers to.
No, not really RIF, ma'am, but cases where how polyps were dealt with, hydrosalpines, the septums and
How thin
uterine
endometriums are
It
factors
there.
take time to take
and
out
thin end.
cases, Tejashree. This too I
Okay,
took out for some
sure.
other
I
talk.
mean, I
Section.
thought that
We
after
will
this
make
discussion, we can
FET,
move on.
FET cases, madam. How you will deal and how
Huh?
we dealt, and we will make FET cases. How
Yeah,
we dealt and how would
Yeah.
better we would have dealt with them.
Like I
yeah.
only showed one FET case where I got so nervous when I saw the endometrium was only 4.5 after whatever estrogen I gave. Then I took her for hysteroscopy, found that little bit of gap in the endometrium, gave her more estrogen, put in PRP, and then did a transfer and prayed to God, and she got such a beautiful son. Then she came back for her next blastocyst transfer last year, but that turned out to be trisomy 21. How did it come from a donor egg? I have no idea. But then they had to abort it in US. And she
He is
wrote.
lucky to have you, madam. He is really lucky to have you.
So
Thank you so
I'm
much,
just trying to
everyone, for
tell you.
joining today evening. Let us, ma'am, finish this session, but we would be glad to receive cases from you, whatever you all want to discuss, and we can then have a good presentation. And we always have our mentor, Abha ma'am, to guide us of where we went
I
wrong
think